What makes entrepreneurs tick? More specifically, what are the personal traits and backgrounds of people who become successful entrepreneurs? This webinar considers those questions and helps you decide whether you have the right stuff to be a business entrepreneur. Everything you need to know about the various definitions of entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is a French word which means to undertake, to pursue opportunities, to fulfill needs and wants of the people through innovation and starting business. An entrepreneur undertakes a venture, organizes it, raises capital to finance it, and assumes the whole or major part of the risk of business. In other words, entrepreneurship is the process of giving birth to a new business. An entrepreneur is one of the most important inputs and segments of economic growth. Hi everyone, my name is Shaad Warsi and I'm your speakers for today's webinar on this beautiful topic, the entrepreneur. Create your own path to success. I'm honored to be with you here. I would like to thank the organizers, IYDS India, audiences and participants. Now, before I'm starting the webinar, I personally requested to all of you, please subscribe the channel and mark your presence in the comment section so it will be easy for us to identify who are attending the webinar or not. And last but not the least, there is a feedback form which we will be sharing at the end of the session. So please don't ask for the feedback link during the session. It is mandatory to fill the feedback form to get your e-certificates. Feedback link will be going to share in the description, comment section, as well as in your WhatsApp or Telegram group. So without wasting our time, let's move on to the topic. Table of contents here. Entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. The word entrepreneur is derived from French word entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship started catching up in 1980s just as professionalism in management caught up during 1970s. Now, definition of entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are agents or change and growth in a market economy, and they can act to accelerate the generation, dissemination, and application of innovative ideas. Entrepreneurship refers to a process of action an entrepreneur undertakes to establish his enterprise. The concept of entrepreneurship has been around for a very long time. In the last decade, it has researched as if a new discovery has been made. Usually, anyone who runs a business is called an entrepreneur. The more precise meaning of entrepreneur is one who creates his own business. For example, person who organizes, operates and assumes the risk of a business venture. An entrepreneur is a person who perceives a need and then brings together manpower, material, and capital required to meet that need. The concept of entrepreneurship is an age-old phenomenon that relates to the vision of an entrepreneur as well as its implementation by him. Entrepreneurship is a creative and innovative response to the environment. It is also the process of setting up new ventures by an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is a composite skill that is a mixture of many qualities and traits such as imagination, risk-taking, ability to harness factors of production, for example, land, labor, technology, and various intangible factors. Entrepreneurship is cultures implies a set of values, norms, and traits that are conducive to the growth of entrepreneurship. It is the organizational culture that focuses on new opportunities and creation of a setup where these opportunities can be pursued earnestly. An entrepreneur seeks the opportunities, looks for ways and means to capitalize on the newer opportunities by organizing the structure and the resources and gaining control on them. As against this, A manager is a non-entrepreneurial culture is primarily concerned with the resources under his control, the relation between the market and the structure of his organization. He is also concerned with matching the opportunity with organizational abilities. The entrepreneurial managers are driven by the perceptions of opportunity. They seek changes in the political rules, social values, consumers, preferences, technology, etc. On other hand, resources like money, manpower, material, they control, drive the administrative managers. Entrepreneurship started catching up 1980s, just as professionalism in management caught up during 1970s. However, confusion will prevail as to what exactly we mean by the term entrepreneur. An attempt, therefore, has been made here to define entrepreneur. There is generally no accepted definition or model of what the entrepreneur is or does. In the past decades, a number of trends have emerged which distinguish between individual entrepreneurship and corporate entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs and small owners and small business owners. Now move to the next, which is characteristics of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is highly achievement oriented, enthusiastic, and energetic individual who has following characteristics. Entrepreneurs are action oriented, highly motivated individual who takes risks to achieve goals. Entrepreneurs will have unwavering determination and commitment. They are creative and result oriented. They work hard in return for personal and financial rewards. Entrepreneurs accept responsibility with enthusiasm and endurance. Entrepreneurs have self-confidence. They are and setting up self-determined goals and markets for their ideas, responding to existing markets. Entrepreneurs are thinkers and doers, planners and workers. Financial talent, manipulating funds, and auditor precision, etc. The entrepreneurs depends on the intelligence, imagination, and strength of purpose of the individual. Now move to the next, which is concept of entrepreneurship. The term entrepreneurship is often used synonymously with the entrepreneur, though there are two sides of the same coin. Conceptually, they are different. The entrepreneur is essentially a business leader, and the functions performed by him are entrepreneurship. Arthur H. Cole has stated that entrepreneurship is the purposeful activity of an individual or a group of associated individuals undertaken to initiate, maintain, or organize a profit-oriented business unit for the production or distribution of economic goods and services. The topic of the entrepreneur has been analyzed and several observations and pronouncements have been put forward. Both pure economics and social theorists are included in the economics who have advanced their opinion on the entrepreneur and his activity. At present, there is no consensus as to what constitutes the essential activity which makes the entrepreneur a crucial figure in the economic game. Entrepreneurship can be defined as an ability to discover, create, or invent opportunities and exploit them to the benefit of the society, which in turn brings prosperity to the innovator and his organization. From the social and macroeconomic perspective. It is held that the economic development of any nation is a direct function of the number of high-quality innovators and entrepreneurs it supplies. This in turn is dependent upon the desire for new and better products that the society demands and accepts. Hope you all are getting my point. A vicious circle is thereby created, resulting in all round economic development and improved standard of life. According to Peter F. Drucker, entrepreneurship is neither a science nor an art. Remember that. It is a practice. It has a knowledge base. Knowledge in entrepreneurship is a means to an end. Indeed, what contributes knowledge in practice is largely defined by the ends, that is, by the practice. Refers to a person, visualizer, creator, organizer, innovator, and so on. The entrepreneurship refers to a process, vision, creation, organization, innovation, technology, and so on. Now move to the next, which is modern writers have identified the following three phases in entrepreneurship development. First is initial phase, creation of awareness about the entrepreneurial opportunities based on survey. Development phase, which is 2, implementation training programs to develop motivation and managerial skills. The third is support phase, infrastructural support of counseling, assisting to establish a new enterprise and to develop existing units. Now, what is characteristics of entrepreneur? Above study of entrepreneurs have shown that the process of entrepreneurship is indeed complex, and also when we say entrepreneur is what an entrepreneur does. Experts have enlisted that characteristics of entrepreneurs as follows. First is ability to create enterprise. Now what does it mean? Entrepreneurship is primarily an economic activity because it involves creation and operation of an enterprise. It is basically concerned with satisfying the needs of customers with the help of production and distribution of goods and services. The second point says organizing function. An entrepreneur brings together various factors of production for an economic use, coordinates and controls the factors of productions, efforts of the persons engaged in his enterprise. The third is innovation. It says entrepreneurship is an automatic, spontaneous, and creative response to changes in the environment. It involves innovation of something new to cause dynamic change and spectacular success in the country or economy and create conditions for economic growth of the country and create conditions for growth of the economy. The fourth point says risk-bearing capacity. Risk is an inherent and inseparable element of entrepreneurship. He or she assumes the uncertainty of future. An entrepreneur guarantees rent to the landlord, wages to employees, and interest to the investor in the hope of earning more than the expenses. Now, fifth point says managerial and leadership functions. An industrial entrepreneur must have additional personality traits such as managerial and leadership skills. Managerial and leadership qualities predominate an orientation in the direction of productivity, working relation and creative integration along with desire to make profit in it. Entrepreneurship demands tactful handling of risks and uncertainties because new commodity and its acceptability are uncertain. The sixth point says gap filling. The gap filling between human needs and the available products and services leads to entrepreneurship. An entrepreneur identifies the gap and takes necessary corrective measures to fill the gap to achieve his action-oriented motive in the enterprise as an entrepreneur with the help of entrepreneurship process. Now move to the next, which is types of entrepreneur. Another classification of entrepreneurs is between private and public entrepreneurs. Private entrepreneurs is motivated by profit and such would not enter those sectors of the economy in which prospects of monetary rewards are not bright. General infrastructure industries fall under this category. For example, electricity generation and distribution is government owned. This forces the government to take the initiative to start enterprises in these sectors. Thus, we have the category of public entrepreneurs. In the less developed countries, the entrepreneurial functions of the government has greatly widened due to lack the sufficient private entrepreneurs. The first is the innovative entrepreneurs. The innovative entrepreneurs may exhibit his talents at innovation in any one of the following forms. The first is the introductions of new product with which consumers are not yet familiar or introductions of a new quality of an existing product. The second is the introduction of a new method of production that has not yet been tested in the branch of manufacture concerned. This need to be a new scientific discovery and can also be a new way of handling a commodity commercially. The third is the opening of a new market, that is market into which the particular branch of manufacturers of the country in question had not previously entered, whether or not this market has existed before. The conquest of a new source of supply of raw material or semi-finished goods, irrespective of whether this source already exists or whether it has first to be created. The fifth point says the carrying out of a new organizations of industry, like the creation of a monopoly situation or the breaking up of a monopoly position. This entrepreneur is not an investor. An investor discovers new methods and new materials. The innovator commercializes these inventions to produce better goods which yield both satisfaction and profits. Now, types of entrepreneurs says the second point, adaptive of imitating entrepreneurs. Imitative entrepreneurs is characterized by readiness to adopt successful innovation inaugurated by innovating entrepreneurs. In other words, imitations follow the innovators after carefully observing how the latter fare and not to what extent their innovations has caught the imaginations of the society. These groups are also revolutionary entrepreneurs with the difference that they do not involve the changes themselves. They just imitate techniques and technology initiated by others. Fabian entrepreneurs. Fabian entrepreneurs is characterized by great caution and skepticism in practicing any change. Such entrepreneurs have neither the will to introduce new things nor the desire to adopt new methods. Such entrepreneurs are shy and lazy. Their dealings are determined by customs, religion, tradition, and past practices. They are not much interested in taking risks, and they try to follow the footsteps of their procedures. Drone entrepreneurs is one who follows the traditional methods of production. Under no circumstances will a drone entrepreneur change the method of production he has introduced. Such entrepreneurs may even suffer losses, but even then they refuse to adopt and use new methods. Very often their products lose their very often their products lose their marketability and their operations becomes uneconomical, leading to their being pushed out of the market. Now move to the next, which is entrepreneurial traits. The true entrepreneur is one who is endowed with more than average capacity in the task of organizing and coordinating the various other factors of production. He should be a pioneer, a captain of industry. The supply of such entrepreneurship is, however, quite limited, and all are not endowed with such talent. He conceives a new industrial enterprise, displays considerable initiative, grit, and determination in bringing his project to fruition. Thus, a successful entrepreneur must possess the following traits. First is mental ability. Mental ability consists of intelligence and creative thinking. An entrepreneur should be intelligent and must have an analytical mind. He should have the capacity to engage in the analysis of various problems and situations in order to deal with them. The entrepreneur should anticipate changes and must be able to study the various situations under which decisions have to be made. The second is clear objectives. An entrepreneur should have a clear objective as to the exact. A successful entrepreneur must have the objective to establish his product in the market, make profit, and also render social services. The third point is business secrecy. An entrepreneur must be able to guard business secrets. Leakage of business secrets to trade competitions is a serious matter, which should be carefully guarded against by an entrepreneur. Here, the entrepreneur should be able to make a proper selection of his subordinates. The fourth point is human relations ability. The most important entrepreneurial traits contributing to his success are emotional stability, personal relation considerations, and tactfulness. In other words, maintenance of public relations or human relations must often make the differences between success and failure of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur must have good relations with his customers in order to gain the continued patronage and win their confidence in his product. He must also maintain good relations with his employees if he is to motivate them to higher levels of efficiency. Or an entrepreneur who maintains good human relations with customers, employees, suppliers, creditors, and the community in general is much more likely to succeed in his endeavors than the individual who does not practice good human relations. The fifth point is effective communication. The gift of the gab is a must for a successful entrepreneur. Good communications also means that the entrepreneur has the ability to put his point across effectively and with clarity. Communication must be to the point, crisp, and convincing. Communication ability is the secret of the success of most entrepreneurs. The sixth point is technical knowledge. The entrepreneurs are dealing with situations where sophisticated technology is involved. The entrepreneur must have a reasonable level of technical knowledge. This is one trait which entrepreneurs can acquire if they try hard enough. The seventh point is decision making. It's the most important point in the entrepreneurial journey. Running a business requires taking a number of decisions. Hence, an entrepreneur should have the capacity to analyze the various aspects of the business for arriving at a decision. The eighth point says energy. As constant attention is required for the successful running of the business, an entrepreneur must have sufficient energy to work hard for long periods. The ninth point says risk bearing. No risk, no business, or no risk, no gain. There is an element of risk in every business. Hence, an entrepreneur should be prepared to accept failure in its proper perspective and view failure as a challenge and opportunities. Apart from these basic traits, Robert D. Hisrich has identified a few more entrepreneurial traits. In his opinion, the entrepreneur must have the adequate commitment, motivation, and skill to start a build and a business. It is his responsibility to determine if the management team has the complementary skills necessary to succeed. Hisrich feels that the entrepreneur must possess the following traits in addition to those mentioned in the preceding paragraphs: motivation, self-confidence, long-term, high energy level, troubleshooter, initiative, goal setter. These personal traits make an entrepreneur a successful person. However, it must be stated that no entrepreneur possesses all these strengths. No entrepreneur is born with all these traits. It is possible for him to acquire these traits if the environment is suitable for this purpose. Now move to the next, which is entrepreneurship as career options. Entrepreneurship as career option. An educated person has broadly two career options. One is called wage or salary employment, wherein people are employed in government service, public or private sectors, and get fixed wage or salary. The other option is entrepreneurial employment, under which people set up their new ventures. Wage employment does not generate resources and is organized within the existing wealth. Wage employment is self-saturating. Once availed, it blocks the employment opportunities to others for another 10 years. On the other hand, the latter contributes towards national wealth and has a unique characteristics of self-generation. This small saving amongst middle-class individuals for investment into new ventures. It also provides an outlet that creates an urge among individuals to attain excellence in product design and related innovations. Thus, entrepreneurship provides a lasting solution to the acute problem of unemployment. The difference between wage employment and entrepreneurial employment is shown in a table. In the context of employment generations, the three terms, income generation, self-employment, and entrepreneurship, are often used interchangeably. Entrepreneurship refers to identifications of innovative ideas, setting up a new enterprise, whereas self-employment refers to full-time involvement in one's own occupations. One may or may not be bearing the risk, mobilizing inputs, organizing productions, and marketing the product or service. Income generating activities, on the other hand, are part-time, casual, and practiced with a view of raising additional income. All entrepreneurs are self-employed and income generating persons, but all self-employed and income generating persons may not be an entrepreneur. Now move to the next, qualities of entrepreneurs. Most people believe that To be an entrepreneur, one requires a profession's intelligence, a fortune teller's capacity to foresee the future, a rich man bankroll, a salesman persuasiveness, a financial talent for manipulating funds, an auditor's precision, a political leader's powers, and the magnetic personality of a film star. Since very few people possess even one or two of these qualities, no one believes he can be an entrepreneur. In fact, the only capacity initial for becoming an entrepreneur is willing to work hard. Do you have a strong desire to be a winner? Please do comment in the comment section. Need to achieve. Most people dream of success and achievement, but do not take any actions towards achieving these dreams. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, have a strong desire to achieve a higher goal and make their dreams come true. For them, winning is achievement. Do you have a quality of stick to it? Once committed to a goal and a course of action, entrepreneurs become absorbed in it. They work hard until the whole project is successfully accomplished. The third is, do you prefer a middle of the road strategy when you have analyzed a risky problem objectively and think you can solve it? Moderate risk taker. Entrepreneurs are not high risk takers. They are not gamblers. They choose a moderate risk rather than play wild speculative gamble. They love a moderate risk situations, high enough to be exciting but with a fairly reasonable chance to win. The fourth is, are you alert to opportunities? Do you seize and convert them to your advantage? Ability to find and explore opportunities. They show an innovative turn of mind, convert difficulties into opportunities, but they are realistic too. They plan and anticipate carefully how to achieve their goals in realizing an opportunity. Hope you all are getting my point. Now next to the fifth, which is, are you unaffected by personal likes and dislikes while approaching problems? Analytical ability. It says they have a matter of fact approach about business undertakings. They are not likely to let personal likes and dislikes stand in their ways. When they require assistance, they select experts rather than friends and relatives to help them. They generally do not take an emotional attitude towards their business or a problem. The sixth is, do you find it important to know how you are doing when you are working on a goal or a task? Using feedback. It is very important to get feedback from your colleagues. It says they like promote accurate data, and it does not make any differences whether the information they get is favorable or unfavorable. Entrepreneurs like to have immediate feedback of their performance. So, in fact, they are stimulated by unfavorable news to pour more energy into attaining their objective. The seventh is, do you welcome tackling an unfamiliar but interesting situation, facing uncertainty? It says, achievement-oriented people tend to be optimistic even in unfamiliar situations. The odds may not be clear, but the circumstances may be appealing. Entrepreneurial persons in such situations see no reasons why they cannot win through their abilities. sometimes even without guidelines, and frequently make the best of whatever opportunities they are. As they begin to understand their environment, they begin to calculate their chances very closely. Thus, paradoxically, they present a picture of boldness in the face of the unknown and prudence in the face of the familiar. They usually win by applying these special insights and skill. Now, 8 point says, do you have a dislike for working for others? Independence. It's called independence. Do you think ahead? So, do you have a dislike of working for others? It is found that most entrepreneurs start off on their own because they do not like to work other people. They like to be their own master and want to be responsible for their own decisions. Are you flexible in your decisions? Flexibility is more important in the entrepreneur's journey. Are you flexible? Most successful people, after weighing the pros and cons of a decision, tend to change if the situation so demands. They do not hesitate in revising their decisions. Successful entrepreneurs are persons with open minds, not rigid. Remember my point. So, do you think ahead, plan your future, and then work to make it come true? Become a planner. Be a planner. Most successful people tend to set a goal for themselves and plan to achieve that goal in a certain time limit. It is very, very much important. Make a plan and make a time limit for that. Are you comfortable while dealing with people at all levels? Interpersonal skills. It is also important in entrepreneur's journey. An entrepreneur is a person who, during the course of his activities, comes across many types of persons with whom he has to deal with. He has to make them work for him, with him, and help him to attain his objective. Hence, he should be a person who likes working with people and who has skills of dealing with people. Can you influence others? Motivators. In the course of his career, an entrepreneur will be required in many situations to influence people and make them think in his way and act accordingly. He motivates, or she motivates people to act. Are you capable of working for long hours and tackling different problems at the same time? Are you really capable of working for a long time? Ask yourself. So, as a central figure in your enterprise, you will have to cope with many situations at the same time and make right decisions, which may involve a lot of physical and emotional stress. All this can be done if you have the capacity to work long hours and keep cool under a lot of tensions, stress. Are you aware of yourself? Positive self-concept. An achiever directs his fantasies towards the accomplishment of worthwhile goals and sets standards of excellence in what he is doing and what he is doing or not. This is based upon the awareness of his strengths and weaknesses. He uses positive knowledge to support his thinking. He is rarely negative. Do you tend to think ahead? Orientations to future. Entrepreneurs show a high level of future orientations. They do not allow the past obsesses them. They are oriented towards present and future. So it was, but now what to do? No entrepreneur has all these qualities. I'm not going to say that you have all these 15 qualities of entrepreneur. but most of them will have many. So the first step for a person aspiring for entrepreneurship is making an inventory of the traits he possesses. The self-awareness and analysis will help define his strength and help overcome his weaknesses. Now move to the next, which is functions of an entrepreneur. Risk taking and uncertainty bearing. The future is unpredictable. We all know that. The entrepreneur has to take risks in their circumstances. If the venture succeeds, the entrepreneurs profit. If it does not, losses occur. Thus, taking risks from an entrepreneur, important entrepreneur functions, risks are two types: insurable and non-insurable. Non-insurable risks are the possibility of changes in the taste or preferences of the consumer, techniques of production, and so on. These non-insurable risks are called uncertainties. The second is taking business decisions. All decisions concerning business are taken by the entrepreneur. Once the entrepreneur is convinced that the particular line of production offers large prospects of profit, he decides to enter it. He has to formulate an action plan regarding the product and the quality of the product to be produced. He has to involve the best possible method of production which would be earn him a seizable profit. Suitable change in the siege of the business have to be effected by him. The third is managerial functions. The entrepreneur combines in him managerial functions. So they are strictly different from the standard entrepreneurial duties. The entrepreneur arranges finance, purchases raw material, provides the necessary infrastructure for productions, supervises sales and marketing, and also assumes the role of the personal manager. The entrepreneur thus has a multifaceted personality when he undertakes managerial functions. Innovations, which is the functions of an entrepreneur. By far, the most important functions of an entrepreneur is innovations. Here he introduces far-reaching improvements in the quality and quantity of the production line. Consider the economic viability, technical feasibility of an invention. It is these functions of the entrepreneur which injects the element of dynamism into the economic system. Modern writers have come to the conclusion that an entrepreneur has three broad functions: innovation, risk-taking, uncertainty bearing, the organization and management of the business so as to have leadership and control over it. Now move to the next, which is role of entrepreneur in economic growth. The position of the entrepreneur is modern production is like that of the director of a play. Modern economic development is closely linked with productions. Modern productions is highly complex. The entrepreneur directs production and he must do whatever is necessary for its success. His role in modern economic development has at least three aspects. First is the entrepreneur coordinates risk. The second is the entrepreneur takes risk. This is the most important functions of the entrepreneur, and the quantum of profit he receives is directly proportionate to the risks he takes. Risks are generally based on the anticipations of demand. Finally, the entrepreneur innovates. Innovations is important. It's different from invention. Invention is the work of the scientist. Innovations implies the commercial applications of an invention. As an innovator, the entrepreneur assumes the role of a pioneer and an individual or an industrial leader. Now, next to the slide, which is entrepreneur motivation concept and need. Entrepreneur is a human being who has his dignity, self-respect, values. Actually, we want all these things: dignity in life, self-respect, values, sentiment, aspirations, and dreams apart from economic status. Indeed, economic betterment of social upliftment motivates a person to distinguish from others. Entrepreneurship is largely the product of motivation. Motivations refer to the inner drive that ignites and sustains behavior to satisfy needs. Behavior is always caused and it is not spontaneous. In other words, human being is goal directed or directed towards satisfactions of needs. A person's behavior is shaped by several socio-psychological factors, such as his goals, education level, cultural background, work experience, etc. When a person feels some need, tension arises in his mind until the need is satisfied. The tension motivates him to take action. If the action is successful, need is satisfied. Otherwise, the person changes the action until the need satisfaction occurs. By now, you have learned what an entrepreneur is and does. You have also learned that the entrepreneurs play a risk-bearing role, which is very difficult one. The entrepreneur embarks on a difficult journey. Then a few important and obvious questions arise. What promotes people embark on such a difficult journey? What motivates people to go into business? These tends to answer these questions issued by discussing entrepreneurial motivation in various aspects, meaning and theories of motivations, motivating factors, and development or achievement of motivations. Now, this is summary. Entrepreneur is an economic agent, buys factors of production and converts it into product with a view to sell it in the market for price, through which he earns profit. The main characteristics of an entrepreneur are planning, organizing, decision making, risk and uncertainty. Risk and uncertainty bearing. Entrepreneurship is the process of identifying opportunity in the marketplace, arranging the resources required to pursue these opportunities, and investing these resources to exploit the opportunities for long-term gains. Entrepreneurs may be classified into empirical, rational, and cognitive, private and public, small scale and large scale, innovative, imitative, Fabian, and drawn entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurial employment differs from wage employment on various counts. Entrepreneurs mainly depends on values, norms, and traits that are consistent to the growth of an economy. And entrepreneurs always seek the opportunities, looks for ways and means to capitalize on the newer opportunities by organizing these resources. The entrepreneur is one of the most important inputs. Entrepreneurial class in India arises from the need to speed up the process of activating the factors of production, leading to a higher rate of economic growth, dispersal of economic activities, development of backward areas. A good entrepreneur is one who is capable of inspiring confidence in people and has the ability to motivate them to work with him in fulfilling the economic goals set by him. The motivates refers to the inner drive that ignites and sustains behavior to satisfy needs. Behavior is always caused and it is not spontaneous. Human behavior is goal directed or directed towards satisfaction of needs. Now, thank you very much for your attentions. Guys, we are running a campaign for blanket distribution. So please donate if you wish to donate. Become a part of our blanket distribution campaign. Donate for a cause. Your donation will help us provide our service to the poor and the needy people across the country. Any and all support is greatly appreciated. So we are just excited to get to work. Thank you for being a part of our community. Thank you very much for your attention and comments, and go and check the description for feedback form. Don't forget to fill the feedback form to avail your certificates. You will be receiving the certificates within a week. Thank you, IYDS, for giving me these opportunities. I would like to wrap up this session. Be safe, everyone. Thank you so much.